let's talk the mother wound. So I had a student one time who said he had a very amazing childhood. He had no issues whatsoever. And then later on, he was telling me how he struggles a lot with money. He's a hoarder of money, and he always feels poor, even though he was hoarding money. And that makes perfect sense because on a root chakra level, if you come into the planet and you are ripped away from the only earth that you've known, that's going to bring up some abandonment issues about security in general, even if you were adopted by the most loving family on the planet, right? So there's an energetic signature in him that is going to be different than the next person. So he's going to try to hoard resources because his primary resource as a newborn was ripped away from him. One example of not necessarily being the mother wound. So in that example, if he was adopted into a loving family, the mother that gave birth to him loved him and or, which either way it wouldn't matter, herself enough to actually give him up, which makes a huge difference, okay? So if you are, say you lose your mother when you're 9 or 10 years old, you're probably going to have some grieving issues. You're going to have some, being a little bit locked in that stage of development that you're in for a very long time. If nobody can successfully help you through that process, it's not going to be the same as what we would traditionally consider a mother wound. And the way that I see the mother wound is like this, okay? So somebody said, I've been in therapy for years. I'm basically exactly where I've always been, and I really need help with those last steps of figuring out how to deal with the mother wound. The mother wound is when you have a mother who is there, but she's not there. When you are projected upon and painted very ugly pictures upon, and you believe that projection, okay? So if a lot of people say to me, I have the mother wound, but if we really wanted to take control of this on a psychological level, to invert this idea into, I do not have the mother wound, I actually am the mother wound. I am my mother's wound. She didn't love herself enough to give me up. She didn't love me enough to paint pretty pictures of me. You became your mother's wound, right? So the only way to process that is to, one, recognize that when you go to therapy for 8 years trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with you, what you're really trying to do, there's like 2 degrees of separation, because what you're not recognizing is that you got to heal your mom. And not like, hey mom, I'm going to run your house and come heal you in a codependent way, but that through your own healing, which is the healing that she required. What did she need? It feels so, people get so mad when I suggest this because they're like, no, she wasn't there for me. I'm not doing this for her. But what did your mother need that created her to create you in such a way that she hated herself, that she hated you, and you became a projection of her own wound? The only way that you can heal that is by recognizing that the only job you have on the planet is to heal, right? If you are a wound and you're wounded and walking around going, what career am I supposed to have? How am I going to get this money in my bank account? What are these things I'm supposed to be doing? What would a doctor say to you if you were an open gaping wound and just running around life? Your only job would be to sit back and heal, right? And when you heal, you're not healing from a place of I'm healing myself. You heal from a place of I'm healing this wound that I've become for the sake of my mother, because most of the time when we are that wound, we don't even have the capacity to say that we'll do it for ourselves. We have to be doing it for somebody else. For the sake of my mother, I will heal. I will be healing, right? So we have to understand that we're not in this whole rat race of trying to heal the mother wound. We're not trying to heal what the mother wound has given to us or done to us. We're trying to heal the mother's wound because we have become that thing. And when we heal that wound, we become that which we actually came to be, which is pretty cool. Yeah, on the other side of that void, you're allowed to everything. You're allowed. Okay? So, primarily, you're allowed to heal. I know that some people, we have this mother wound and we think actually we're betraying our mothers if we heal. We have to stay away from her if we're successful or whatever. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to be better than she was because it will make her better than she is. I promise. So think of it that way. You have more control, mentally speaking, over the mother wound if you own that. You don't have it, but you are it. And the only way to heal a wound is to allow the wound itself to heal, recognizing what it is, stopping long enough to see that there's a wound that probably needs you to just chill out, slow down, and pay attention to it. What is it saying? How could it heal? What are the things that it needs? And giving the wound those things. That becomes your only job when you recognize that you are the mother wound, because for generations, what you don't heal is going to show up, and every trail, if you never even have children, of DNA that you leave on the planet is going to leave that imprint. Do you want to leave an imprint of an open, gaping wound? Or do you want to leave an imprint of like, I was here, bitches? Because one feels way better than the other. So, thanks for letting me be here, guys. Bye.